Hi, how is everyone? So today I'm bringing a video regarding the victims that are left from suicide and how it affects their lives when they have a loved one that commits suicide, and what I've experienced in my unfortunate losses to people that I've loved to suicide, and what it's done to my life. And I think it's very important to share because it's a very hard thing to heal from, and healing is one of my targeted missions in life to help people do, and then to also help myself and to spread the word of the important, how important it is to heal yourself completely before you move on to anything else. Again, my name is Sunny, and I lost my ex-husband slash best friend and my daughter's dad to suicide 8 years ago now. He struggled from alcohol addiction. He had severe depression. He, at the time, was struggling with a relationship that he was in. They were fighting, and whatever else was going on between those two. He had lost his job. He had recently had 2 DUI convictions and spent a month in jail. Everybody was just really kind of riding him and just really down on him for making the mistakes that he had made. And he had struggled with depression, I believe, his whole life. His name was Joshua Jack Sparks. Was he 30? He was 30 years old when he committed suicide, leaving behind his family, his daughter, my daughter. She was 6 years old, me, and his life. Um, when I realized what was going on, when I realized what had happened, when I received the phone call regarding his death, I remember my daughter was in Idaho with my mother for spring break visiting my nephew and niece, and I had just got home, I believe, from work, or I can't quite remember. I had not heard from him, excuse me, my eyes, since the day my daughter had left, and that wasn't like him. He always called me. He was one of those people that call at 5 o'clock in the morning just to chit chat every single morning. The first, I believe it was a day or two that he didn't call, I just figured that, he was taking a break from it because our daughter was gone, and maybe he was out with his friends, or he had, he just was busy doing something else. But then after, I believe it was the third day, I finally called I think it was his sister, and I said that I thought something was really wrong. He was staying at his parents' house at the time, and he had gone out, they had gone out there to check on him, and sure enough, he had hung himself in his parents' garage. Um, that day was the day that everybody that was associated with him, his life's changed. I still pray every day for his family. My daughter and I both still struggle. I try to keep his spirit alive. I try to obviously keep pictures of him. I, tell stories about him to this day. But she's unfortunately forgetting all the memories that she had with him, which is a hard thing to see. Um, at first, his family was really supportive and thanked me for always being there for him and all that I always did for him. And that was great, but that didn't last very long. It was like his family had a hard time being around my daughter, and at that time my daughter really needed them, and I really needed them because I was going through a really rough time trying to deal with the loss of him but also trying to explain it to my daughter. And she was having emotional problems at the time. The school started calling me because she would mess in her pants. She was fighting with other kids. The other kids somehow found out how her dad had committed suicide. And so they were telling her at school. I ended up losing a job because the school would call me at least 2 to 3 times a day to go there because she was having behavioral problems. My family wasn't supportive. I had really no one. I didn't have anyone to help me. And all my daughter wanted was to be around his family. She really needed them at that time, and they truthfully could not make time for her. Well, after, I don't know, it was a month or so after um, he had passed, I had gotten married. And at the time that he passed, Josh and I had been divorced 6 years. It wasn't a recent thing. We hadn't been married in a long time. We had actually um, been divorced quite a while, but we had actually became best friends. He was, and he still is, the best friend I've ever had in my entire life. His family, um, I think it was because they had a hard time being around her. I can't speak for them. I know that they blame me, and that's the whole purpose of this video, is to bring the awareness of what people do to other people during this time. It seems like everybody starts pointing their fingers at everybody for the reason why this person did this, and they have to have somebody to take all their anger and pain out on, and that just so happened to be me. Um, and it really has affected, and it really has taken a part of who I was and who I will be in the future away from me. I spent every day helping Josh. I still love him every day. I still miss him every day. I think of him every single day. I talk to him. He's actually one of my spirit guides, which really helps me out a lot because my life's really changed a lot, and it's been difficult not having him here, not seeing him, not fighting with him, not having his wisdom, or not having his shoulder to cry on every day. Suicide is definitely a hard thing for anyone to go through. Unless you've gone through it, it's really a difficult thing to understand. It's not like any other death. All deaths are hard, but when it is a suicide, it leaves you broken. It leaves you wondering what you could have done better. And it's something that will take the rest of a person's life, if even possible, to heal from. But it makes it worse when people start pointing fingers at other people and blaming them for someone taking their own life. Because the truth of it all is that person took their own life. That person decided that they no longer wanted to be here, that they no longer had the willpower to live. They no longer had the strength to deal with the hurt and the, disappointments in life and the stress and everything. It has nothing to do with anyone else. No one makes that person do it. No one wants that person to ever do that. I gained nothing by his death, and I lost so much that I can't even or will ever be able to explain to anybody ever. I mean, it was like that day I received the call, and I remember just falling on the floor because I knew, and I kept trying to tell people that he was going to do this. He had tried a couple times before. He was trying to get help, but unfortunately, with our health um, insurance companies and the way that these hospitals have to comply with how long they keep somebody there, and especially when they don't have insurance, he never got the right treatment. They just put him on medication, and I mean, a lot of medication that was actually making him worse. And then he was drinking on top of that, which was making it worse too. My point of this video today is that, for those people that have been left behind by their sons, by their daughters, by their husbands, by a family member, by their friends that have committed suicide, and people look at us like we want attention, we want sympathy, we want to be the victim. The thing is we are the victims that are left to deal with what happened. We are left to deal with not having our loved ones here. We are left to deal with the guilt that we all feel, no matter who you are. And some of us are left to be blamed and punished and beat down and hurt from the people that don't take responsibility for their own actions in it, or don't want to face that maybe their son was unhappy, or maybe their daughter was unhappy and they didn't see it, or they didn't want to see it, or they got sick of trying to help him, so they abandoned him. I mean, there's so many different aspects to this, but the thing is there's no one to blame. They're not even the person that commits suicide. When people tell me that how selfish it is, and just they can't, they think it's a sin and he's going to go to, or people are going to go to hell. The thing is that people that commit suicide are mentally ill. They are literally, they're not all there. They really do believe that the people they're leaving behind will be better off without them, or vice versa. They do it to hurt a person. Let's say a husband and wife are fighting. Say the wife has an affair, just as an example, and the husband, he might just kind of lose his marbles. I mean, I guess is the way to put it, and off himself, go off and commit suicide, or just to spite that person that hurt them. It has nothing to do with say the wife. She made a bad choice, but she didn't take his life. He took his own life. And it does no one good to target an individual and to gossip and lie and spread hate and just, beat that person down. To be honest, the way I felt by his family and by his friends and by the way others treated me was as though they wanted me. They were pushing me to commit suicide. They thought that would make them feel better. Well, why would I take my own life for something I was never involved in creating? I did everything possible to help him. I mean, he was in an IOP program for his DUIs. They would have a family night every Friday night, and I would attend. I went every Friday. His girlfriend didn't. She was at the bar. His parents didn't. They were out to eat. His sisters didn't. They were with their family. But his ex-wife did, because I was his family. I love him, and I was there for him, and I wanted to support him, and I wanted him to know that no matter what he did wrong, I was always going to be there, and I was always going to forgive him, and I was always going to love him, and he would always be my friend. And he was a good dad to my daughter. He was the best dad that he honestly could be. He financially didn't help me very much, but speaking from a person that was raised by a father that didn't want anything to do with him, that would only see me because he had to, Josh never missed one day that he had a visit with his daughter, that she was going to stay the night. He never did, he never disappointed her. He never left her waiting. Nothing. The only time that ever happened is the day that he took his life. And the day that I remember I was struggling so much because I obviously had just lost someone so close to me, someone so dear to my heart, someone that I never thought I would ever live life without, ever. And I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to tell my my 6-year-old daughter, that her dad is gone, that she will never, ever, ever see him again until after this life, How was I going to explain that to her? Her dad was one of her best friends. She loved him more than the whole world. They were buddies. And I had to tell her that her dad was no longer here. And I remember people looking at me like, why would that be so hard? Why are you struggling? Why are you crying? You're divorced from him. You should be happy, some people told me, and I would never be happy for anyone. I don't hate people. I forgive people. I love people. I would never be happy over anyone's death. No matter what they have done to me in my life, no matter what. And neither should any of you. We should all love people and forgive people, and we may not like them, but we should never, ever wish death upon anyone. That's wrong. And we should never, ever have to tell our children, our babies, that their parent is gone and they're not going to be there to walk them down the aisle or be at their next birthday party or at their next Christmas program or at their next soccer game, volleyball game, at their graduation, at anything that they achieve in their life when they graduate college. Because our children count on us. They believe that we're going to be there to see all that. And so does the other person. So did I. I really did. I never imagined that he was 5 years younger than me, for one thing, so I thought for sure I'd be the first one to go. Suicide is a very difficult thing to ever deal with. A person will never heal completely from it. It's something that's always on your mind, always in your heart, and it's definitely made a mark in your soul. I just want people to know that if you are feeling suicidal, if you are depressed, I hope that you remember this video. I hope that you remember that the people you leave behind are never, ever, ever better without you. No matter what you've done, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what, we are not better off without you. It actually really takes a piece of our world away, no matter what. And the importance of being able to talk to somebody or have somebody that you can rely on, that you can always count on, that, those to be there for you when you do feel this way is very important, and very something more important than a lot of the things that we spend our time and our money on. And it needs to be talked about and really brought to a perspective of us knowing more information about it, other ways to deal with how we feel, doctors being educated more than just putting people on medication, and just knowing that there are people like me out there that are always here willing and able to help do anything possible to save anyone's life, and not to have anyone else's heart broke because they lose somebody to suicide. And our love, my love, and the love out in the world that needs to increase, obviously. We need to make sure that people know that we're here for them, that we love them, even if they're a stranger that we pass on the street. We need to make sure that people are aware that there are people there willing to help. There are people there that do care if we know them or not. And that suicide isn't the answer. And then it isn't the answer to the victims that are left behind for people to blame them, no matter if it was because of a fight. No one's to blame. It is that person's time, I suppose, and people might have a hard time understanding that or believing that, but I believe that God takes us when it's our time. And you know, obviously that person decided to do that, but God also took them, because not everyone dies when they try to commit suicide. So we all need to remember that. I am standing in my daughter's room because I just want to show you pictures of Josh and my daughter, and also to make sure that I do acknowledge him and just let the world know that he was such a wonderful man. He was very caring. He was very loving. He wouldn't have harmed anyone. He was funny. He was an amazing, amazing golf player. He was an identical twin. His family and friends loved him very dearly. His daughter adored him. And he will never, ever be forgotten, especially while I'm alive. I love you so much, Joshy. I miss you so much, buddy. And I know that you're by my side every day. I feel you. And I love you. Here we go. Here's a picture of Josh and my daughter. He was such a happy guy. He was handsome. He, like I said, he was funny. And she adored him. And, sorry, this is a picture when we got married. It was one of the happiest days of my life. And this is a picture right before he committed suicide. I don't think I'll ever truly know exactly why. And I don't think his family or anyone will ever truly know why he decided that night to do that. But he did. And now he is with God. I do believe that. I do not believe that people go to hell for that. We do not get punished for having mental illness, or and we don't get punished for the mistakes we make unless we are not we do not repent our sins, or we do not regret it, or we do not I truly feel that he regretted it very deeply after it happened. But I also feel like that he was set free from all the pain and worry and everything that he went through in life. So my video today isn't about the moon. It isn't about psychic abilities. It's about suicide and what it does to people and how it affects us and how it will affect many people in years to come and many years after that. But if we work together, we have love, understanding, patience, maybe we can stop some of it. Maybe we could help that one person. We just have to try. Much love to all of you. Again, Joshy, I miss and love you so very much. Thank you for all that you still do for me. I know that you are always here helping me, always here guiding me, protecting me, and our little girl. Our daughter's now 15 years old. She's a sophomore in high school, or excuse me, a freshman in high school, about ready to start driving. And she's had a tough life. She's had a lot to deal with.
Um, but she's strong and she has courage. She's honestly my hero. She's one of the toughest, the most realistic people, the most caring, the most giving person I know. And I know that she's going to do really well. And I know her dad's very proud of her. And I know that he does see what she does. I know that he is here every day watching her grow. And I know he gives her a kiss every single night before she goes to bed. Again, much love and light. Peace. Make sure that you spread the word about suicide awareness and watch for the symptoms of somebody struggling with depression, and make sure that you're there for people no matter if you know them or not. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I love you all so very much. Peace.